The other day on the ELF Insiders podcast, I'll leave the link in the description for the full thing, I said this about one of my favorite linebackers in Europe.
Matt, tell me who's a player, and maybe you might have someone on the other side of the ball that we should be giving more love to this season.
No, but I'm the European here, so I'm going to go for my European flavor today. I'm going to go for Flamur Simon. I don't think Flamur Simon gets mentioned at all. I was having a discussion with one of the quarterbacks in the ELF, name him nameless. He goes, I'm having an argument with one of my teammates about the best linebackers in Europe. I was like, oh, it's probably, lucky. And they're like, oh, what about Flamur? I looked back into the tape and damn, Flamur Simon might be one of the best linebackers in the league. Not European linebackers. Now, if you haven't guessed already, this is going to be a video and an eval about Flamur Simon. Let's start with the size profile first and foremost. Flamur is huge, 6'5", 245 pounds. And you see that profile and you think he's going to be a rush outside linebacker. That's not what he is. He will stand in the zone, in coverage. He'll come off the edge at times, but he is prototypical outside linebacker who can sometimes move onto the inside. You can play as the Mike Will or the Sam in that as well. The first thing we're going to talk about is his burst. Phenomenal burst. I think it might be the best in Europe, full stop. You see that man that big running at you, it's going to be terrifying, let alone when he gets a running head start. His bursts are close as well. That last yard or two that he needs, he can often get. He has the acceleration, he has that quick first step. I don't think there's another player in Europe that has the ability to close distance as fast as Flamur Simon. I was talking to a friend of mine from UE, and he was telling me, we were just talking about linebackers. Sometimes it's important just not look at the numbers of their combine. Sometimes they just get to the fucking player. And that, for me, it's just Simon in a nutshell. He gets to the player. No matter the distance, no matter the head start by the quarterback or ball carrier, he finds them and he gets them with ruthless aggression. Of course, what good is closing speed if you can't tackle? Now, Flamur Simon can certainly tackle. There are a few missed tackles. What linebacker doesn't have a few missed tackles? But in general, he's very effective on run support, wraps up well, takes good angles, breaks down, and shows excellent lateral movement across the line of scrimmage and across the coverage to make the play on the ball carrier. With that frame and that length that he possesses, it is incredibly hard to get around him when he is inside of a gap in zone support. Outside, he has the speed, he has the burst as we talked about to close the distance and attack the ball carrier. He is rarely shaken by receiver and ball carrier moves. He can adapt his feet well, his footwork is solid, he breaks down, he does make the tackle successfully. If I'm championship game, on the goal line, one score game, there's a run up the middle, give me Flamur Simon. Which leads me to the next aspect of his game, his play recognition. Flamur Simon has some of the best play recognition I've ever seen. He replays tremendously, he's instructing defenses. This is from a 24-year-old linebacker, and he is acting like he is a veteran of the game. And I think this play highlights it perfectly. Simon's playing outside linebacker to the weak side. Immediately off the snap, we have the tight end and the guard pulling away from Simon. He reads the play action, opens up his hips, and then comes back down once he notices the offensive lineman coming towards him. He then knives through the space, comes down and makes a hell of a play on the running back. This is the kind of play that wins you games, and this is an incredibly hard play to come across. This does not go under the radar. This is a phenomenal play. This may seem like a very simple screen breakdown, but for me, it shows his footwork, his awareness, his knifing through space, his tackling ability, and his extremely high football IQ. This cannot go under the radar that Flamur Simon is a tremendous playmaker at linebacker. This also comes into the burst category. This can be filtered across all of that, but it's important to mention his motor is also fantastic. When it comes to driving towards players on the line of scrimmage, when it comes to finishing tackles, when it comes to going across field for plays, Flamur Simon is constantly around the ball. He plays to the echo of the whistle when it comes to him rushing, when it comes to him in pass coverage, and when it shows to getting after the ball carrier. There's no play this season that I think shows his motor as well as this one. Up 46-28, championship game, 4 minutes left, it's pretty much wrapped up. They're going to win. Flamur Simon is again playing outside to the weak side. Play action he is unfazed by, sticks in his zone, reads Riley Hennessy, and comes crashing down for a small gain of 2 or 3 yards. This is another play that just executes his motor, shows how phenomenal he is as a linebacker, and shows how ready he is to put himself on the line for the team. Of course, this is his play recognition, this is his burst, this is his motor, this is all a combination of everything that we have talked about today, and this is just a few of the examples that show how phenomenal he is at coming downfield and making a play on the ball. As I said before, Flamur Simon is a playmaker. Now, of course, no player is perfect, and neither is Simon. For me, I think that he needs to improve his rush development. As an outside linebacker with that size, he is expected to rush the quarterback fairly often. He does have a limited rush move bag. There are instances where he shows a very nice swim move, a very nice one against the Frankfurt Galaxy. However, this is an inconsistency, and it does need to be sharpened up if he wants to come off the edges a lot more often. He does tend to just kind of hit a body into a body, and if he can outmuscle them, great. And if he can't, he does not have a second move to really get off and make an impact. He relies a hell of a lot more on his timing and his motor to make the plays on rushes than traditional rush packages, hand placement, or a secondary move, or even a tertiary move. As a CFL prospect, he is expected to be able to get off blocks. It's not that he can't do it, it's just that he does not show consistency when it comes to this part of his game. There are instances where he can over pursue, especially when a lineman is in space. He'll try and beat them to the punch, but then ends up over exaggerating his angles. Man coverage. As a player that big, you're expected to have the trade-off of man coverage. As a zone linebacker, he shows tremendous potential and has acted as one of the better zone linebackers in the league. Man coverage, he does show flashes, but when it comes to the shiftier, smaller receivers, he does struggle to get down into the routes, knife through, and make an impact on those short slot receivers. He's going to be expected to do man coverage at times, and hit fluidity is not as fluid as some of his counterparts. Naturally, this is being nitpicky, and Ryan Fire are not going to expect him to be in man coverage very often. That's why they have nickelbacks, and he is Nixon's own player. So I do think this is just trying to find holes in his game, and I think that might be just a small one. And that is Flamur Zimon. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm a massive fan of Zimon. I think that he is going to be one of the players that looked at for Defensive Player of the Year. I think the last year he had a few injuries. Not a massive concern. Like, he played 12 games a year before, so I don't think there is a major concern for injuries. Unbelievable player. Honestly, I think that he is a potential superstar in this league as a German player, as a Ryan Fire, as a champion already. He's going to be phenomenal. And I had a great fun watching this one. I've watched pretty much every snap of his game this year. It was a true pleasure. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Thank you and goodbye.